September 3rd, 2020. And then we're going to add 4 words today. So Colin, you'll have 4 words to do tonight. So we're going to start with number 10, which is the word orbit. 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 O-R-B-I-T. Orbit. Orbit is a noun. It can also be used as a verb, but in the passage we're reading today, or the story we're reading today, it's going to be used as a noun. And it is the circular path that heavenly bodies, and that's just a weird way to say planets, and things like that, the things that are out in space, so planets or things in space, that's what they mean by heavenly bodies. Yes, Michaela? Okay. C-I-R-C-U-L-A-R. Michaela asked how to spell circular. It is C-I-R-C-U-L-A-R. Thank you for asking. That was a good question. So they are the circular paths that heavenly bodies, which are planets and things in space, travel in around other bodies. So in our case, an orbit is this in our solar system. The orbit is that circular path that all the planets travel in around the sun, which is the other heavenly body. So orbit, O-R-B-I-T, is a noun, and it is the circular path that heavenly bodies, like planets or things in space, travel in around other bodies. In our case, it's the way the planets move. It's the circular path that the planets travel in around the sun. Yes, Kingston? Yes, you do write the things in parentheses. Unless I say don't write it, you write everything on the board. Remember, I've said that almost every day for about 4 weeks now. So unless I say do not write this, what do you need to do, class? Write it. Okay, number 11 is the word crater. Crater. C-R-A-T-E-R. Crater. Crater is a noun, and it is a deep pit or valley. A deep pit or valley. A crater, C-R-A-T-E-R, is a noun. It is a deep pit or valley. Yes, Colin?
I only have 3 lines left. Should I go just...
That's what you need to figure out. What do you think? Okay, number 12 is the word rotate. Rotate. R-O-T-A-T-E. Rotate. Rotate is a verb. Remember, a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. A verb is an action. And it means to turn in a circle. So to rotate means to turn in a circle. Right now I am rotating. Rotate. R-O-T-A-T-E. It is a verb, which means to turn in a circle. Number 13, and the last word, is the word exploration. Exploration. E-X-P-L-O-R-A-T-I-O-N. Exploration. Exploration is a noun, which means it's a person, place, thing, or idea. And it is a journey to an unknown place. Remember, exploring means you are looking through, or you are going through something you've never gone through before when you're traveling. You are exploring, you are traveling through either you or somewhere nobody has been before. So an exploration is the name of that trip that you took to explore. So an exploration is a journey to an unknown space. Do you want cards from me, or do you want to use your own?
My dad took mine because he has to go to work, and then he's going to our cabin. So.
And plus an extra just in case. Yes, Victoria.
Space instead of place.
Well, place. I mean, it's technically a synonym, but to an unknown place. Okay, once you're done with that, you can go ahead and put your vocabulary notebooks away. Zarian Smith, do you mind tilting your camera down so that I can see you and what you're working on? And then Carla, do you mind tilting up just a little bit so that I can see more of your face? I don't have to see your whole face, but there you go, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so go ahead and open your book to page 102. Open your book to page 102. Everybody's going in the cup, including me.
Shields.
Yes, go ahead and put your shields on. Victoria, don't worry about it for right now. If I pick your stick, I'll just... Sorry. 102. We're on page 102. The sun is the center of our solar system. That means everything else in our solar system moves in an orbit, a circular path, around the sun. Okay, thank you, Cullen. Go ahead and read next. Ethan. Loud and slow. Louder.
The sun is a medium-sized star made of...
A little slower so we can keep up.
The sun is a medium-sized star made up of gases.
Not gazes, that's,
Gas.
there you go.
The temperature of the sun is almost 10,000
That little circle means degrees. Ethan, go slower. You're reading too fast, so we can't keep up with you. That little tiny circle means degrees, and the F means Fahrenheit. So 10. Very good. Nope. You skipped a line, Ethan. Use your finger to follow along so that you don't accidentally skip lines. So the closer a planet, read that again. Good. We know the sun is very hot because it's made out of burning gases, very hot gases. So that means the closer a planet is to the sun, focus, the hotter it is. Good. Ethan, go ahead and keep reading. Loud and slow. You're reading too fast, so we can't keep up with you. Use your finger to follow so you don't accidentally skip anything.
The inner planets are those closest to the sun. They are made of solid rock.
Okay. And go ahead and read to us about Mercury. Just Mercury, Ethan.
Mercury is the
Oh,
closest.
don't forget to read the subtitles.
Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. It is about 1/3 the size of Earth.
So, if Mercury is about 1/3 the side of the Earth, is Mercury bigger or smaller than Earth? Victoria? Smaller. It's as if you took one Mercury and put it inside Earth, and you could fit 2 more Mercuries inside Earth, because you have 1 out of the 3, but you could fit 3 Mercuries inside Earth. So that means 1 has to be smaller. Keep going. Pull your mask below your chin. Pull your mask below your chin, Ethan. And then keep going.
Covered with craters. It looks like a lot like the moon. Mercury has no water and very little air.
Good. So if it has no water and very little air, could we live there? No. Okay. Thank you, Ethan. Go ahead and read next. Michaela, read to us about Venus. Read the first block of text, pause, and then read the second block of text that goes on to the next column. Loud and slow.
Venus. Venus is the seventh planet from the sun. It is
Michaela, you're adding words. There is no is after Venus. Try again.
Venus, the second planet from the sun, is valued in this circular
Go slow.
swirling cloud.
Okay, pause. So the way you would read that sentence, because you have commas, you would say Venus, the second planet from the sun, is veiled in thick, swirling clouds. So do you see how I never stopped my sentence? My voice never went down as if I was stopping. It stayed up until the period, but I paused a little at each of those commas, because the reason those commas are there is they're saying Venus, the second planet from the sun, they're explaining to you where Venus is without having to write a brand new sentence. Okay, keep going, Michaela. You already read the part.
About the same size of Earth. Venus is sometimes called a sister planet.
Why would a planet being the same size as another make it a sister planet? Think about it. Aaron?
It might be called a sister planet because if two planets look the same, then they look similar instead.
Who else? And why would that make them sister planets? What does sisters have to do with it?
Maybe because
Louder.
maybe it's because they have the same size and that they're right next to each other.
So what does that have to do with sisters? Carla?
The same size.
Okay, what does that have to do with sisters? They're similar in size. What does that have to do with sisters? The way they look is similar. So what does that have to do with sisters? Cullen?
They might have the same color.
What does that have to do with sisters? Are sisters sisters? Can we tell people are sisters because their color is the same or their size is the same? Victoria?
Because why they call Venus.
How do we know that Cullen and Haley are sisters without even having to know that? If somebody saw Cullen and Haley at the grocery store, how would they know that they were sisters without even knowing who they are? Smith?
I lost my answer.
Okay. Zari?
Because they're traits and you can tell that they're sisters.
How? Cullen?
Because we look like each other.
Because they look alike. So that probably means looking at Venus, it looks similar to Earth. The size is similar. Maybe the coloring is a little similar. Good. You guys think about it. You're just saying, I had like 4 people tell me the same exact answer about color and size. What does that have to do with sisters? Sisters usually look alike. Well, so do Earth and Venus because of their size. Okay, Michaela, keep going. Read the rest about Venus.
Venus spot is very different from Earth. It has no ocean and no light. Their air is made up of carbon dioxide.
Louder, I cannot hear you.
This layer traps in heat. That makes Venus the hottest planet in the solar system. What temperature?
Not what?
With temperatures of 900 degrees.
Degrees, and what does the F mean? Fahrenheit. There you go.
Venus is even hotter than Mercury.
Good. Carla, make sure you're reading along. Because even if you can't hear her, I said just read the rest about Venus. So that meant you were at home reading the rest about Venus and then stopping. So, Venus is actually the hottest planet. But I thought it was whatever was closest to the sun was the hottest. But no, because of something that Venus has, that makes Venus the hottest planet. What does Venus have that makes it the hottest planet? Zadie?
The carbon dioxide.
What the carbon dioxide, we have carbon dioxide too. But why does the carbon dioxide, what about the carbon dioxide? Is there anything else in the air, really?
No.
No. So what does the carbon dioxide do that makes it so hot?
It traps in the heat.
It traps in the heat. It's like when we have a cloudy day, a lot of times it's actually warmer than if it wasn't cloudy because those clouds trap the heat. Well, this carbon dioxide traps the heat even more than our clouds made up of water and oxygen and all that. So it's actually hotter on Venus than it is on Mercury. Okay, thank you. Michaela, go ahead and read next. Read to us about Earth. Zari, read that first block of text and then pause.
Earth. Earth is the 3rd planet from the sun. In addition to having the most comfortable temperatures, Earth has water and oxygen.
Still feet.
As far as we know, Earth is the only planet able to
Okay, you covered the end to read the beginning, but now you have to cover the beginning to read the end. So yes, it is sus, but then cover up S-U-S and read the end.
sustain.
There you go. So when you're chunking, you can't just cover up the end, read the beginning, and then guess. When you're chunking, you have to cover up the beginning, you have to cover up the end, read the beginning, Then cover up the beginning and read the end. Then put it together. Good. So it says Earth is the only planet able to sustain life. What does that mean? What does it mean when it says as far as we know? What does that mean? As far as we know. Why do they say that? Aaron?
They said as far as we know, because maybe there's lots of stuff that we don't know about Earth.
So what could that mean? Well, about Earth? It says as far as we know, Earth is the only planet able to sustain life. Why does it say that?
Because there's a lot of stuff we don't know about space, and
So what could that mean?
there could be another planet that actually has
Carla, hand down.
stuff like Earth, like oxygen.
Very good. That means do we know everything there is to know about the universe? Carla, hand down. Do we know everything there is to know about the universe?
No.
No. That means there could be a planet out there that is able to sustain life. Maybe it has comfortable temperatures, so it's not too hot or too cold. Water, oxygen. Maybe it has all those things needed to sustain life. Or there could be other life out there that doesn't need water or oxygen or comfortable temperatures to sustain life. We don't know either of those things. We don't know if there's another planet like ours. We don't know if there's creatures out there that don't need what we need and can live on these other planets. We don't know. Ethan, put it back on. I don't want to tell you again. Okay, keep going, Zari.
Besides heat, we also get light from the sun. It takes about 24 hours for Earth to spin or rotate, all the way around. For half of that time, a side of Earth's face,
Nope.
the
A side of
sun
Earth.
and
Hold on. A side of Earth, not face, but not Earth's face, but a side of.
a side of Earth faces the sun, and it is day. At the same time, the other side faces away from the sun and makes it night.
Okay. So that means all the time the Earth is spinning. Sorry, make sure to mute yourself. The Earth is spinning. Part of the, it takes 24 hours to spin all the way around. So from here to get back to here takes about 24 hours. Well, for half of that day, for half of that 24 hours, part of the Earth is facing the sun. If you can see the sun, it's daytime. For the other 24 hours, or for the other half of the 24 hours, part of the Earth is facing away from the sun, so it's nighttime. That's how night and day work. Okay, Zari, read that last little bit. Yes, Zari, quickly.
China, it's daytime when we're sleeping.
Exactly, because they're on the other side of the Earth. So if my head was Earth, right now we're here, and people in China are back here. Okay, Zari, read that last little bit.
It takes Earth about 365 days to move around the sun. We call this time period a year.
So, as the Earth is spinning, it's also moving around the sun. So, each of those 24-hour periods that it takes to spin is a day, but then it takes 365 of those days to go all the way around the sun, which is a year. Okay, we're going to come back to this diagram, but for now, go ahead and turn the page. Thank you, Zari. Keep reading. Aaron. go ahead, loud and slow.
Mars. Mars, the planet next farthest from the sun, is often called the red. The red rocks, soil, and sky are
Don't, you just added a word. Doesn't say the red rocks, it just says,
The rocks, soil, and sky are red in color. Before space,
cover up A-T-I-O-N. What word does that kind of look like? Explore. We'll now add a shun to the end.
exploration.
There you go.
Before space exploration, people thought there might be life on Mars. They thought the lines on Mars' surface were
Try it.
canals
Canals.
made by intelligent life forms. Traces of shorelines, riverbeds, and islands may suggest that there were water and perhaps life on Mars at one time. Craters and
Cover up the A-C-T-I-V, and what do you have? In. Now cover up the I-N, and what do you have?
active,
So put in and active together to form one word.
inactive.
Inactive.
Craters and inactive volcanoes cover most of its surface today.
Inactive is an example of a word that has a prefix. IN is a prefix that means whatever verb comes next, it does not do. So an active volcano would erupt. An inactive volcano, would it erupt? 4 on the floor, Victoria. I've been trying to look at you and do this non-verbally. But if you don't pay attention or follow what I'm doing, then I have to tell you out loud. So if an active volcano erupts, but we know IN means whatever comes after is not true, does an inactive volcano erupt, class?
No.
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 Good. Okay, Aaron, go ahead and read that next block of text and then stop. Make sure to read subtitles.
The outer planets. In addition to being farther away from the sun, these planets are not made of rock. Although they may have solid centers, these planets are made up of gases. They are dark and cold.
Good. So those planets that we just read, the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, and Earth, and Mars, those are the ones that are closer to the sun. Well, now we're in the outer planets, which are further away from the sun. Why do you think that the subtitle and the planet names for the inner planets are like that reddish-orange color, but the outer planets are all blue? Why do you think that might be? What do you think the person who designed this was kind of going for to try to tell you with the color that they chose? Smith?
I think they're trying to tell us that outer planets are way less warm.
Good. Because, very good. Because when we think of like a color that is warm, we think of red or orange. But when we think of a color that is more cool, we would think of blue. So yes, they are trying to show us, just with the color of the text, that the inner planets are much warmer than the outer planets. Good thought, Smith. Okay, thank you, Aaron. Victoria, sorry. Zadie, go ahead and read next. Loud and slow.
Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet. If Jupiter were hollow, more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside.
So what does that mean? Is Earth bigger or smaller than Jupiter? Carla? If 1,000 Earths, more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside Jupiter, is Earth bigger or smaller than Jupiter?
It is
You don't have to look at that diagram. You just need to think of what it just said. More than 1,000 Earths could fit inside Jupiter. So is Earth bigger or smaller than Jupiter? Zari, can you help her out?
Smaller.
Smaller, because if you can fit 1,000 of one thing into another, that means the thing you're fitting 1,000 of into the other is much smaller. It's like when we said we could fit 3 Mercuries inside Earth. Well, Mercury is smaller, otherwise we couldn't fit 3 of them. So Earth is teeny tiny compared to Jupiter since you could fit over 1,000. Make sure you are focusing and reading with us. Zadie, keep going.
It is the 5th planet from the sun and is famous for its great red spot. Scientists believe that this spot to be a storm.
Good. Keep going. And then stop after Saturn.
Saturn. The 6th planet from the sun is the largest planet.
Oh, is that what it says?
Is the 2nd largest planet.
See, so Zadie, do you mind if I use that as an example? Do you see how accidentally forgetting a word or reading a word incorrectly or adding in words can completely change the meaning of a sentence? Okay, keep going.
It's the 2nd largest planet. It has thousands of beautiful shiny rings. These rings are made up of chunks of ice, rock, and dust. Saturn is also very windy. Near the equator, the wind blows at speeds up to 1,100 miles an hour.
Can you imagine? If that happened on Earth, every single thing in the path would be gone. I don't think there's ever been a time in the history of the Earth where there have been winds that blew for up to 1,100 miles an hour. Every single thing in the path of that wind would be gone, obliterated, non-existent anymore. Okay, thank you, Zadie. Go ahead and read next. Smith, loud and slow.
Uranus.
Ooh, Smith.
Uranus
Hey,
is the
Smith.
3rd largest planet.
Smith. Smith, something's going on with your sound. It's like robot sounding almost, like it just keeps echoing. So we can't really understand. So just listen for now, okay? Thank you for reading, but we can't really understand. I don't know if it's me, Zari, and Carla. Does she sound kind of like a robot to you?
Yeah,
Okay.
she fully sound like
Okay, that's okay. All I needed was a yes or a no. Okay, I don't know, but at least you can hear, and so that's fine. That's fine. Okay, but thank you for trying. Carla, go ahead.
Uranus is the 3rd largest planet.
Carla, there is no is. There's no is after Uranus. It's like the one that Michaela read, where you read it and then it kind of it told you to pause for a second because it's going to give you a little information. Then it's going to give you a little more.
Uranus is the 3rd.
Carla, there's no is. Carla, there's no is after Uranus. You keep saying Uranus is the 3rd largest, but that's not what it says.
Uranus, the 3rd planet, has
The 3rd.
Uranus, the 3rd planet.
Carla, you're skipping a word, which means you're saying it's the 3rd planet, which means it comes after Mercury, Venus, Uranus. But that's not how it is. It says the 3rd what planet? Use your finger to follow along.
Uranus is the 3rd largest planet. has at least 22 moons.
Pause. Pause, Carla. The way you would read that sentence is Uranus, the third largest planet, has at least 22 moons. There isn't an is. Keep going. Use your finger to follow along, Carla.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you don't skip words. Just read like Saturn.
Uranus is the third largest planet, has at least 22 moons. Like Saturn, Uranus has faint gray rings that might be made out of gravity.
Cover up ITE. And what word do you have? Graphite. Graphite.
Graphite. The black matter is
Not matter. Carla, not matter.
the black material inside a pencil.
Good. Make sure you're reading the whole word. What you're doing is you're reading the beginning, the first few letters, and then just kind of guessing what comes next. But make sure you're reading, because you know these words. You just have to make sure that you're reading the whole one, not just guessing. Carla, keep going.
Neptune. Neptune has a great dark spot about the size of the Earth. Neptune's spot, like the one on Jupiter, is through
Not
to
through.
be a
Not
star.
through. Carla, not through. Listen to this sentence. Listen to the sentence I read you, Carla. So watch me while I read the sentence. Neptune's spot, like the one on Jupiter, is through to be a storm. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you listening to the sentence? Is through to be a storm. Does that make sense?
No.
No. So can it be through?
No, ma'am.
No. It has to be what? Is.
Though.
There's a T at the end. Thought.
Thought to be a storm. The wind there are the strongest on any planet. They have been found to reach speed of 1,020.
No, that's right. 1,000.
1,200 miles per hour. Neptune has 8 rings and 8 moons.
Okay. Thank you, Carla. Go ahead and read next. Kingston. Loud and slow. Please put your book flat on your desk. We don't read like this. We read with it flat on the desk.
A note about Pluto.
My please.
Carla, please mute yourself and make sure you're following along.
A note about Pluto. Pluto was discovered in 1930 and was called the ninth planet. In 2006, International
Louder.
Astronomical Union said planets must orbit the sun, have nearly round shape, and clear other objects in their orbit. Because Pluto's orbit intersects Neptune, it was named the dwarf.
So what that means is Pluto was always considered a planet for really less than half of my life now. That's crazy. So for my whole childhood and into high school, Pluto was a planet. It was considered a planet. But then in 2006, they realized, you know what, we really can't consider this planet because what happens is that sometimes Pluto crosses Neptune's orbit. So for part of the time, that meant that Pluto was closer to the sun than Neptune was. And so the International Astronomical Union decided that that can't be right. We can't say that that is an orbit when the rest of the planets don't do that. So they said it's not a regular planet, it's a dwarf planet, which is not what we consider one of the major planets. It's very small. Okay, so is Pluto a planet anymore? No.
No.
Okay,
No.
go back to page 103 and let's look at the diagram on the bottom. Okay, so on page 103, we look at this diagram on the bottom, 103. It says distance from the sun. So that means this diagram is going to tell us the distance from the sun. Right above it, make sure you're reading along. This is on page 103. You don't have to be able to see it well here, because if I'm pointing to something and you're not sure where I'm looking, you can just be like, okay, Miss Bullis is pointing at that part of the diagram, so I need to look at that on my page. It says, reading a diagram. This diagram shows the distance from the sun to each of the 8 planets in miles and kilometers. Now, I was reading that from the book. That meant you needed to be reading it with me. I see some people that aren't even on page 103. So what that means is we're going to look at this diagram. It has a picture of the solar system from the sun all the way to Neptune. Each planet has an arrow pointing to it. Now I know I'm pointing on here, but you can't see well. So you should be looking at the same thing in your book. This is just, again, if you're not sure where you're supposed to be looking, you can glance up, see where my pointer or my hand is, and then look at that same spot on your textbook. So for each planet, we see an arrow pointing to it. The closest planet to the sun is Mercury. How far is it from the sun in miles? In miles, how far is Mercury from the sun? Cullen?
23 million.
Are you looking at Mercury?
Oh, 35 million 983,095 miles.
Good. The bottom number for each of these planets is how many miles the planet is from the sun. The top number is how many kilometers. So Cullen told us that Mercury, she followed the arrow up to the part of the box that told us about Mercury. And it is 35,983,095 miles from the sun. Now, as we go out, do the distances get longer or shorter? As we go on this diagram, as we go out, do the distances get longer or shorter? Michaela? As we go out, do they get longer or shorter? Look at the distances. Zari?
They get longer.
Longer, which means the farther you go out, the further the planet is from the sun. The closer you come in, the closer the planet is to the sun. Now, how many kilometers is Saturn from the sun? How many kilometers is Saturn from the sun? First, you're going to tell me exactly how to find the answer. Zadie?
You look at the diagram where it says Saturn,
Okay.
and it'll say kilometers.
Okay. And then how do I know which of these planets is Saturn?
The arrow.
I follow the arrow. Very good. So, Zadie, how many kilometers is Saturn from the sun?
1,426,700.
Not 1 million. Remember, let's name the periods. We start with the ones period. Zadie, watch. We start with the ones period. Then which period comes next?
1,000.
Then which period comes next?
100,000.
period. Remember, not place, but period. We have the ones period, which is 3 digits. Then the next 3 digits are the thousands period. Then the next 3 digits are the... Who can help her out? Victoria? Millions period. And then the next 3 digits would be which period, Zadie?
1 million.
Not place. Michaela? Billions. Remember, the period is each group of 3 digits. Periods and places are different, so make sure you remember that. So Zadie, we have the ones period. Next 3 digits are the thousands period. Next 3 digits are the millions period. And then this digit is the first of the 3 digits in which period?
The billion.
The billion. So try that word again, or try that number again.
1,426,100,000.
No, there's no such thing as a 100,000s period. We would never ever say 100,000 at a comma. Can somebody help her out? Carla, please stay focused. Are your headphones on? Okay. Can somebody help her out? 1 billion. Cullen?
42,
No, not 42.
426 million.
So try again, Zadie.
1,426,725,400
And don't forget to say what they are.
kilometers.
Good. KM means kilometers. The word miles means miles. So this diagram shows us a lot of things. It shows us the planets in order from closest to the sun to furthest from the sun. It shows us kind of the sizes of the planets compared to others. It also shows us how far each of those planets is from the sun in kilometers and miles. So it tells us the distances in numbers, but sometimes we can look at diagrams to find other information too. The main purpose of this diagram is to tell us how far each planet is from the sun. But this diagram is cool because not only does it tell us that, but it also tells us the order of the planets from closest to furthest. And it kind of gives us an idea of the sizes of the planets compared to each other. And then, of course, the sun, which is larger than any of them. So does everybody see? A diagram doesn't necessarily just tell us what the title is. Sometimes it shows us more things too. Labels will help you to see what information it's telling us. The labels tell us the planet, and the title shows us that each of these numbers is how far the planet is from the sun. Okay, very good. How many miles is Earth from the sun? How many miles is Earth from the sun? Ethan. We don't have 2000s period, so it can't be 92,955,820. Zari, help him out. How far is the Earth from the sun in miles?
$67 million.
We're talking about Earth, not Venus.
92,955,820.
Good. Remember, the third period from the right is the millions period. We have the first 3 set of digits on the right, which is the ones period. The second set of 3 digits from the right is the thousands period. Then the third set of digits from the right is the millions period. Sometimes we have a fourth set of digits. That's the billions period. Okay, thank you, Zari. Earth is 92,955,820 miles from the sun. Smith, it's okay to answer this question because it's not reading, but how many kilometers is Earth from the sun?
Right now is going to be 149,597,890
What?
kilometers.
There you go. It's working now. I don't know, but it's working just fine now. Good. So this diagram, like we said, tells us a lot. Not only the distance from the sun, but where they are in relation to each other. Like which one comes before and after Mars? Well, Earth comes before, Jupiter comes after. So it shows us where they are in relation to each other. Also, their sizes in relation to each other. Very good. So what you're going to do next, this is the independent practice. The top gives you a diagram of river lengths. So make sure, read this box at the top, look at the diagram, read the directions, then read the questions, then look at the diagram again. It is only one side. This will be your reading homework. So you're going to use this diagram to answer these questions. Number one does not have to be in complete sentences. The rest of the sentences need to be in complete sentences. So everybody, next to use the diagram to answer the questions, write in complete sentences. Quickly. I will write that on the board. So next to the directions, write in complete sentences except number 1. Because you don't have enough room on number 1, but you have enough room for all the others.